Today we are going to discuss about global divide north and south. And in this discussion we are going to understand the historical and economic factors that shape the north-south divide, analyze the disparities in wealth development and resource between the global north and global south, evaluate the impact of colonialism, trade practices and international institutions on the divide, examine the challenges faced by the countries in the global south, such as limited resources and political instability, explores efforts to address the divide through aid, fair trade, and sustainable development goals, reflect on personal and collective roles in promoting global equity and sustainable development. Group 6 are comprised by me, Cadet Kabilin, Cadet Ulbata, Cadet Yaun, Cadet Monterona, Cadet Lapis, and Cadet Royles. This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material.
Today, sir, we are the group 6, and our topic is about global divide, North and South. The concept of the North-South divide, which emerged during the Cold War era of the mid-20th century, has played a crucial role in understanding the global economic, political, and social disparities. These divisions arose from the alignment of the countries between the Soviet Union and the United States, and later evolved into a framework that highlighted the inequalities between the more developed nations of the North and the less developed countries of the South. The North-South divide emerged during the Cold War, categorizing economically weaker nations as the Third World. With the dissolution of the Soviet Union, a new framework emerged, highlighting economic disparities between the developed North and underdeveloped South. Challenges such as poverty, limited resources, and inadequate infrastructure persist, requiring efforts to promote inclusive global development and address issues like healthcare, poverty, and climate change.
So the North First World countries, the northern part of the global divide consists of countries with developed economies, which represent more than 90% of global manufacturing industries. Despite accounting for only a quarter of the world population, these countries control 80% of global income. The North is home to influential international organizations like the G8 and includes the four permanent members of the UN Security Council. The majority, about 95% of the population in North countries have their basic needs met and have access to well-functioning education system. The North includes countries such as the United States, Canada, Western European nations, Australia, New Zealand, and developed Asian countries like Japan and South Korea. The third world countries, the global south comprises developing economies that were originally referred to as third world countries during the Cold War. These countries are characterized by the relatively low GDP and high population, despite representing a significant portion of the global population. The global south earns a smaller share of the global income. Access to the to basic necessities such as food and shelter is limited, with only a small percentage of the population able to meet these needs. The economies of most southern countries heavily rely on imports from the global north and have lower levels of technologies.
The divide between the North and the South has developed due to a combination of historical, economic, and social factors. Here are some key reasons behind this divide.
So number one, historical factors. So the global divide between the North and the South stems from historical events like colonialism and imperialism, which left many countries in the global south and an economic disadvantage. So next is number 2, economic disparities. Economic disparities contribute to the divide, with developed countries in the north having stronger economies, advanced industries, and better infrastructure, while many countries in the south face poverty and limited resources.
So, technological gap. The gap in technological advancements widens the global divide, as the North has greater access to advanced technology and digital infrastructure, while the South often lags behind in technological adoption. So, a significant factor contributing to the global divide is the technological gap between the North and the South. The North has greater access to the advanced technology, digital infrastructure, and innovation, enabling them to benefit from the advantages of technological process. Meanwhile, the South often faces challenges in adapting and leveraging technology effectively, further exacerbating and divide. Then, education and skill gap. Unequal access to the quality education and skills development further perpetuates the divide, with the North having better educational system and higher literacy rates, while the South faces challenges in access to quality education and skills training. So, unequal access to quality education and skills development further deepens the global divide. The North generally possesses better education system, higher literacy rates, and greater investment in human capital. In contrast, the South faces barriers in accessing quality education and skill training, limiting their ability to participate fully in the global economy and hindering social progress. Then, political and governance factors. Political stability, effective governance, and strong institutions are crucial for development. The North generally has more stable political system and stronger governance structure, while the political stability, corruption, and weak governance hinder process in some countries of the South. So, effective governance and strong institutions significantly impact a country development. The North benefits from the more stable political system and stronger governance structures, providing the conduct of environment for economic growth. In contrast, political stability, corruption, and weak governance in some countries of the South hinder progress and a widen divide.
The term Global South refers to a conceptual framework that includes economically disadvantaged countries and regions primarily in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. It goes beyond the Cold War era classification of the Third World by considering shared challenges and historical experiences of colonization, exploitation, and marginalization. Unlike the Third World concept, which focused mainly on economic development and carried negative connotations, the Global South perspective encompasses a broader scope incorporating social, political, and historical dimensions. It emphasizes solidarity, self-determination, and inclusive development strategies. Latin American countries have played a significant role in shaping this new conception of global relations. Their experience of colonization, economic exploitation, and social inequality have prompted critical reflection and alternative perspectives on global power dynamics. Movements like dependency theory, liberation theology, and the non-aligned movement have influenced the Global South discourse, advocating for inclusive, equitable, and participatory approaches to development. These experiences have underscored the need to address historical injustice,
promotes self-determination, and fosters solidarity among countries facing similar challenges, contributing to a more understanding of global relations from Global South perspective.
In conclusion, the global North and South divide is a complex issue shaped by historical, economic, and political factors. The North, consisting of developed countries, enjoys economic prosperity, technological advancements, and political stability. Meanwhile, the South, comprising a developing countries, faces economic disparities, limited access to resources, and social changes. The transition from the concept of the Third World to the Global South reflects a more inclusive and political conscious framework. Acknowledging historical injustices and promoting self-determined development, bridging the North and South divide requires addressing structural inequalities, promoting equitable trade practices, enhancing access to education and healthcare, and fostering international cooperation. By working together, we can strive for a more balanced, sustainable, and inclusive global community.